Hey, so I'm just watching something which is quintessentially British. The original Mary Poppins. I watched Mary Poppins Returns the other night. I thought it was very enjoyable, but last night, in fact, I thought it was very good, very enjoyable. Anyway, it's just to make a point of Britishness, right? Mary Poppins, British institution. Up there with Sherlock Holmes, James Bond, Harry Potter. These are quintessentially British things. And it's great, we should celebrate them. Wonderful. But what I want to talk about here is Brexit and how this thing is just creating what I feel may be irretractable divisions, and it's depressing. So UK's come out with a new poll in which they claim that their findings suggest the Remain side is more intolerant. I don't know how you get. I haven't looked into the report, but I don't know how you would get a concrete conclusion on something like that. 16 million people voted Remain, 17 million people vote Leave. How can you get an exact science on determining which side is more tolerant? The fact of the matter is there has been intolerance on both sides. I'm going to come back to that, but I want to just read out something, and this is reported by the Sun, right? The Sun newspaper, which is, vociferously anti-EU. This is Brexit opinion polls, and presumably this is from, will they cite the source ICM, right? So I don't know if this is their readers or the source cited as ICM. This is currently what British opinion dictates. This is what people would favour. Those who favour no deal, 28%. Those who favour a second referendum, 24%. Those who want to extend Article 50, 20%. Those who want a harder Brexit, 18%. Those who want to replace the Prime Minister, 14%. Those who want a soft Brexit, 13%. Those who want a snap election, 11%. Those who want to stick with the deal, 8%. And those who don't know, 14%. That's according to the Sun. Now, anyone looking at that objectively would say that just indicates what a mess this is. Clearly, the people don't know what they want because the majority choice there is no deal, and that's only 28%. So, the Sun's the Sun's making that out to be some big thing, but 20% is a minority. It happens to be the largest minority of views, but it's a minority. So the point here is, in terms of the way ahead, nobody really knows. This is a complete mess. And it's something I think, ironically, both sides would probably agree with. But I want to touch on this issue of tolerance because it's this poll seems to suggest, I don't know how YouGov has come up with that, but I'm not going to say it's wrong. I'm not going to say whatever method they've used is wrong in the way that they do it. But I do question if that can be a conclusion to just say the Remain side is more intolerant. So here's my take on it. I've never tried to hide the fact that I voted Remain, but am I a Remainer? Adjective Remainer. Not necessarily. I'm not necessarily calling for another referendum. I'm not sure if that would be the best approach. Also, another referendum, if there's another EU referendum, then that will galvanise Scottish nationalists who will demand another Scottish referendum, which I'm against. And then they would say that's hypocritical because how can you support another EU referendum but not another Scottish referendum? So I'm not convinced it's the best way forward. Although, quite honestly, at the moment, it's very difficult to know what is the best approach. I think there are also strong arguments for another referendum. I just personally don't particularly want to see the division that comes about. Although I could easily be persuaded that I could definitely veer towards the argument that it is justified. Anyway, I think the notion that the Remain side is more intolerant. Well, what's that based on? Okay, there are some Remainers who do smear the other side. They say they're all racist and they say that there's racist aspects to it. My take on that is you have to be very careful about smearing 17 million people as little Englanders. That certainly isn't the case. And I've always defended moderate leave people who I'm friends with, and I know they're not racist. I know that they're not little Englanders. These are people who travel, they're cosmopolitan. They're not They're not that stereotype. But without question, every racist voted leave. You know, everyone in this country who does have a problem with foreigners in general, what do you think they voted? Remain or leave? I mean, that's the point. Yasmin Alibi Brown had a piece in the Eye yesterday. I don't agree with all her positions, but she made a fair point. She said, not all leavers are racist, but all racists voted leave. And I think there is something in that. So to those leave people who get this defensive reaction, look, most Remain people don't think that you're racist. But what we are saying is that racism is predominantly the domain of the Leave side. That's irrefutable. Because what National Action member, what Combat 18 member, what other far right type is going to be pro Remain? Exactly zero. Now, I get it, they're a small minority of extremists. Of course, they don't represent the Leave side. But my problem with what's going on right now is we are seeing an increase in jingoism in this country. I mean, look at what happened last year with the England World Cup success. You had a bunch of yobs invading IKEA, throwing the weight around. Now, people could say that would happen with or without Brexit. I'm not sure about that. I think that Brexit has galvanized those sort of attitudes. And okay, most people condemned it. But the point is, some of the rhetoric that's being used, constantly treating our neighbouring EU countries as enemies, I think it plays a role. In terms of intolerance, okay, I can understand the argument that another referendum would be seen as undemocratic. I can understand that. And intolerance, definitely there's been examples of Leave protesters demonstrating intolerance. But I think it is completely preposterous to say that intolerance is solely the domain of the Remain side. Um, I mean, that's just stupid. It's just blatantly not true. When you get these people saying that if you even ask questions, if you even raise questions about Brexit, then you're a Remoaner, you're a liberal elite, you are unpatriotic. Those are the sort of smears that are constantly thrown at people who even ask questions. I'm not talking about EU flag waving Europhiles. I'm talking about people like myself who merely ask questions. And this is obvious, it's happening. So I'm not going to listen to lectures from the Leave side about tolerance because until they start to rein in on the extremists in their midst, they've really got no position to lecture. And they're not reining in on the extremists in their midst. So I get it. Most Leave people are not racist, they're not Little Englanders, and they're not extremists. But by the same token, they are not acknowledging that they also have a problem in their midst. Because whenever these things are raised, they're like, oh, it's got nothing to do with Brexit. It's got nothing to do with me. No, it's not your personal fault. But you cannot accuse the Remain side of being intolerant if you're going to turn a blind eye to intolerance on your side. So it's very hypocritical. I have a big problem, lad.